Hello?
Hey, Josh just sent you the link. Just sent you a text. So if you go onto it, there's gonna be like some phone numbers that.
Hello?
Call, and then, there's a pass.
We can hear you.
Thank you, Ms. Stein.
Yeah, but we're gonna get started right then. Okay,
And they're starting in the morning.
all right, you guys ready?
Okay.
All right, good evening, everyone. Good evening, everyone. It is 6:04. And so the work session for mayor and council for Tuesday, June 20th is called to order. Ms. White, can we have a roll call, please?
Yes. Roll call for Tuesday, June 20th, 2023. Councilmember James.
Present.
Councilmember DeBose.
Good evening, everybody. How's everybody doing?
Councilmember Gutierrez.
Present.
Councilmember Aiken Wells.
Here.
And Councilmember Mears.
Now, Councilmember Mears, he may join us later. He's-
You have a quorum, Mayor.
Okay, yes, but just look out to see if he joins the Zoom link. Excellent. Mr. Clark, you have the floor for your city manager's report.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. Good evening, everyone, residents and staff of the city of Forest Park. One of the things we would like to do first is recognize our new employees that have joined this great city. So first I'll start with our Community Development Department, Mayor and Council. And as I call the employee name, if you could please come to the podium and be recognized by our Mayor and Council. So first we'll start with Ms. Maria De La Cruz, who is our permit technician over in the Planning and Community Development Department. Thank you. Also within our Forest Park Police Department, we have Sergeant McDonald. Sergeant Pitts. Officer Israel. Recruit Jones. And last but certainly not least, Recruit King. Mayor and Council, under the efforts of Chief Chris with Forest Park Police Department, we have taken the amount of vacancies that we have in the department down from 20 plus to right now we're tethering around 4 to 5 vacancies in the police department. One of the commitments of Chief Chris was to get the department fully staffed, not with just any officer, but with the best officers that we can find. So thank you guys for your dedication and your commitment to working for the greatest organization in the world.
Thank you.
Lastly, additionally, as it relates to our employee recognitions, I'll ask Chief Chris to come up as one of the ways to continue to build the momentum and morale within the police department. Chief Chris has instituted an Officer of the Month program. And so we are excited to recognize It's already on the agenda. So Chief Chris will do that a little bit
We'll
later.
come back to you.
We'll come back.
Yes.
The other thing, Mayor and Council, I want to share with you within this 100-day roadmap that I've laid out for the city, one of the things you continue to hear me talk about, even the theme of this agenda, is revenue recovery. Thanks to efforts of our finance department, we were able in the last week or so to collect approximately $18,000 in delinquent property taxes. We're also excited of the opportunities that we have to streamline some additional processes as it relates to our finances. And also, we're excited to report for all of our employees that the audit work for Empower is underway. We've made great progress, and we look forward to hosting an employee town hall meeting to address this thing that everybody has been wondering about for a long time. We look forward to doing that within the next 30 to 60 days, bringing all of our employees under one roof while we talk about the things that we have done. Due to the length of this agenda, Mayor and Council, if you will, I'll defer to distributing my city manager's report to you via email so that we can get down to the business of the city.
Excellent. Thank you so much, sir. And welcome to all of our new hires. Yes, ma'am.
Just want to let you know that I do have Councilman Mears on the phone.
All right, it is 6:07. You're just gonna hold them up to the. Okay. You want to do that now? Oh, yes.
And last but certainly not least, I would be remiss if I did not recognize Miss Diane White. Miss Diane has been a city clerk for the city of Forest Park for quite some time. Miss Diane has served local governments across this state well. She not only served small communities, but she served the large ones as well. It's been a privilege and honor to work with Miss Diane, but we wish her well as she retires within the next 2 weeks. This is her final council meeting with us.
Item 1, council discussion on government tax solutions. Background and history. The purpose of this memorandum is to request authorization for the City of Forest Park City Manager to execute an agreement with Government Tax Solutions, or GTS, to assist with the collection of delinquent property taxes. These services include, but are not limited to, list preparation, file preparation, title examinations, levy notifications, and legal advertisement preparation and submittal. And so, Mr. Clark, is there anything you would like to add before I open it up to questions or comments, or is there someone from Government Tax Solutions present?
Yes, ma'am. We do have Chris Laney here with us tonight to go over this proposal. And as Chris comes forward, Mayor and Council, one of the things I'll share in looking at revenue recovery, we went back to 1977 just to look at some of the delinquent accounts that we have here in the city of Forest Park. Those delinquencies are totaling right at $1.7 million. And so one of our attempts is to bring as much of that current as possible. The presentation that we have in front of you is at no cost to the city. All of the incurred costs for us collecting this debt will be based on the individual. Well, let me not say debt. These delinquent taxes will be paid for by the individuals who have these delinquencies. Chris Laney has been a representative for Government Tax Solutions from some time and has background here in the city of Forest Park.
All right, thank you for being present. You have the floor, sir.
How are y'all this evening?
Hello.
So basically, just to let you know,
Can you talk into the microphone?
okay, sorry. Wasn't completely prepared. I thought I was answering questions, sorry. Basically, let me give you a background on our company. I've been basically helping communities collect delinquent property taxes 22 years. I'm a Jonesboro graduate and a Clayton County kid. No longer a kid, but I still feel like one. Anyway, my parents both graduated from Forest Park High School in 1968. That's why he said I'm from the community. Actually, my grandfather ran the maintenance division of Georgia Power up here, and my other grandfather ran local businesses. So basically, we come in and help cities and counties throughout the state of Georgia collect their delinquent property tax. We send a series of letters. We help administrate the tax sale process and basically can collect 95% of your delinquencies that are collectible. As he said, there's $1.7 million out there from 1977 through now. By law, we can collect the previous 7 years. That's 1.2 million. Ricky asked me to put some numbers together from what y'all had and give you some estimates on what we could collect and estimated to collect. Basically, from when we start and we really get ramped up and going, which can happen quickly, the first estimated we could probably collect close to well over $200,000 in the first 2 weeks to a month. Then after that, the hard work starts, and over a 4 to 6 months period, I estimate we could collect as much as $1 million, probably more like 900,000. Basically, we use tax sale as the leverage to get collection. Our company basically has always prided themselves on, we don't want to sell anyone's property. Our job is to get them in the door, to communicate with the city, to get their taxes paid. We specialize in the legal research, the legal notification, what's required by Georgia law to get these things done, and to basically make sure the city handles every single thing in accordance with Georgia law. There will be properties, there's properties since it's been, as Ricky said, since 1977, there's some delinquency. So there are properties out there that basically either absentee landlords or for lack of a better way to put it, no one cares about that property anymore. Some of those properties might need to go through the tax sale process. Sometimes that could be very good for the local community, get those properties in either neighbors' hands, or, you could have an area that's no good to anybody else, but it's the neighbor next door might be able to expand parking. I mean, it runs the gamut. So our job is to go in, do the correct legal research, give the city that information Ricky correctly claimed that it doesn't cost the city anything. By Georgia law, any delinquent collections is charged back to the delinquent taxpayer. And we follow those laws stringently. And so if it doesn't collect or anything, it doesn't sell, then our company doesn't get paid. We don't bill you additionally. And the number one thing is it's always under the city's control. This isn't like a typical collections where if you have water bills and they're turned over to a collection company, then once the collection company receives those things, then they're in control. We are always still under the advisement of what the city wants us to do with every single property that we are working. Are there any particular questions?
Thank you very much. I will open it up to questions or comments. Councilwoman James. Councilman Antoine?
Yes, ma'am.
Councilman, do you have any questions or comments?
No comments. Thank you for the presentation, sir.
Councilman Gutierrez?
Thank you, sir.
Councilwoman Wells?
No, thank
And Councilman Mears, is there any questions or comments? All right. Thank you.
Thank you for your time.
Item 2, council discussion on the land bank contribution update, background and history. Last year, to be equitable regarding the member cities and county of the Clayton County Land Bank, the Land Bank Board agreed that each member's share should be based on population as presented and recommended to the board by then President, Mr. James Shelby. As the largest city in the county, the City of Forest Park's share equates to $41,250. The city's portion is from a total of $125,000. The county's membership contribution is $250,000. And so, hi. And so, Ms. Gardner, is there anything you would like to add before I open it up for questions or
I
comments?
think that pretty much sums it up. But from this standpoint, I would respectfully request that this be tabled until the July meeting. That way it'll give an opportunity for the Land Bank Authority's representative to be able to explain more.
Mr. Clark, is there anything you would like to add?
Yes, ma'am. If there are no questions from mayor and council relative to respective properties, because we don't have the list, staff is ready to move forward with this contribution because the contribution will not change based upon the properties that are on the list. The matrix in which the county used or the methodology in which they use to determine the cost per each member city was based upon population share, as Mayor Butler previously stated. So if there are no specific questions as to what is on the list, we'd like to move forward. I think this has been vetted through our legal team as well as our director. And Ms. Jett was supposed to be here tonight, Ally Jett, the attorney for the Clayton County Land Bank Authority, and she wasn't able to be here. So what we could do, Mayor Butler, we could, in fact, bring her in July for just an update, but we're ready to move forward with ratifying this item tonight.
Thank you so much. Councilwoman James, questions or
No
comments?
question.
Councilman Antoine, any questions or comments?
No comments, ma'am.
Thank you. Councilman Gutierrez, Councilwoman Wells?
No.
Councilman Mears?
None.
Thank you. Item 4, council discussion and approval of resolution and IGA with the Clayton County Board of Elections. Background and history. Oh, I sure did. Okay, item 3, I'm sorry. Council discussion on the City Hall Master Plan. Background and history. Execute task order PPI 2023 through 02 for on-call services. Precision Planning will develop a master plan for a new City Hall and Recreation Center complex at the site of the existing City Hall, Planning, Community Development, and HR Building, and the Recreation Center. Precision Planning will develop a conceptual design, plan, and budget based on an approved program by the city. Mr. Shelby, is there anything you'd like to add?
No, I just want to mention that, excuse me, that this plan would incorporate all the buildings, City Hall, HR, the Rec Center, and the new CVS, not CVS, what was it, Rite Aid? Rite Aid store. So they would create a master plan for us, and you all will approve it, and then we will move forward.
Thank you. Councilwoman James?
Just a question about the property that I don't think we own yet, that vacant lot that's in between us. Can we have a conversation on that? Can that be included, or how do we?
It can be, that's something we can discuss more in depth session.
Okay, thank you.
Councilman Antoine?
No comments.
Councilman Gutierrez? Councilwoman Wells?
No.
And Councilman Mears?
No comment.
All right, thank you, sir. Item 4, council discussion and approval of a resolution and IGA with the Clayton County Board of Elections. Background and history. The Clayton County Board of Elections has agreed to enter into an intergovernmental agreement with the City of Forest Park for election equipment for the November 7th, 2023 municipal elections. There is no financial impact to the City of Forest Park. The request is for council to approve the resolution and IGA with the Clayton County Board of Elections. Mr. Clark, is there anything you'd like to add?
Yes, ma'am. This is just for the election equipment that we use for the election cycle. Upon adoption of this IGA, the county has already ratified the same IGA, the County Elections Board, and we're just seeking your approval to move forward with procuring the election equipment in an effort to get ahead of the election cycle starting in August of this year.
Thank you. Councilwoman James, questions or comments? Councilman Antoine?
No comments.
Councilman Gutierrez? Councilwoman Wells?
No.
And Councilman Mears?
No.
Thank you. Item 5, council discussion and approval of the cancellation of the July 3rd, 2023 council meeting. Background and history. The July 3rd, 2023 meeting of the City Council will occur on the Monday before the 4th of July. It is proposed that this council meeting be canceled in order to reduce any potential disruption to the city employees' holiday and vacation plans centered around the 4th of July. It's pretty self-explanatory, but is there anything you'd like to add, sir?
No, ma'am, this is purely something we wanted to get ahead of, just in case there was any desire, or the pleasure of mayor and council to cancel that meeting. But just know that we'd have one meeting in the month of July with a work session and a regular meeting on its normal recurring schedule, so it will potentially be a little long.
Okay, Councilwoman James, questions or comments? Councilman Antoine?
No comments. Thank you for the presentation.
Councilman Gutierrez, Councilwoman Wells,
No.
and Councilman Mears.
No.
Thank you. Item 6, council discussion on lighting services agreement, background and history. As per citizen request, staff is requesting the addition of 3 new 120-watt LED light fixtures along Elam Church Road to aid in complaints of the area being too dark. Staff recommendation for this request is for approval. However, we also seek to implement a street light district policy for all subsequent requests. Mr. Clark?
Yes, ma'am. Our first request is for approval of the street lights as requested for Elam Church Road. However, we would like to take this moment to try to streamline the process by in which street lights are provided within the city. Historically, governments proposed street lighting districts in which a certain percentage of the residents or property owners on that street contribute to the cost of any new lighting enhancements. At current, the city of Forest Park pays for every street light within the city. And as you can imagine, there is no budgetary way for us to manage what that cost looks like. So what we are proposing is discussion surrounded around implementing the street lighting district. We've put into place some simple language for you guys to consider as it relates to how this will flesh out. The resident would not be billed every month for it. It would fall on their tax bill and it would be amortized over a period of time. If a resident on a particular street in the city wanted a street light, the only thing they would have to do is get 51 or more percentage of individual property owners on that street to attest to it, or the renter, so as long as the property owner agrees. And we would then move forward to petitioning mayor and council to add said street lights. However, that cost wouldn't solely be on the city of Forest Park. Right now, we're averaging over close to $200,000 for just street lights in residential neighborhoods. So this is just one of those housekeeping measures. It's not something new. It's new for the city of Forest Park, but it's just one of the things that we want to do to streamline what our processes are.
Thank you. Councilwoman James.
So question, does that mean the street lights that are currently there, we will look to now separate that bill, or are we talking about new lighting?
It would
is
be
implemented?
It would be my recommendation that we don't go retroactive. If it's the pleasure of this board, we could at least make the ask, but those particular streetlights have already been approved. And so one of the things that we're starting to do for the majority of these recurring contracts, you'll note that throughout my administration, I'll place them on the agenda so that it is spread upon the minutes so that everybody is aware as to the contracts that we've executed. But we have not anticipated going retroactive. We would start this policy at said date upon adoption.
Thank you.
Councilman Antoine.
No comments.
Councilman Gutierrez. Councilwoman Wells.
No.
And Councilman Mears.
No, ma'am.
Thank you. Item 7, council discussion on the implementation of Adopt a Cop, background and history. The Forest Park Police Department is currently authorized to have 95 sworn officers, 63 of which are police officers. Approximately 85% of the police department has less than 3 years of law enforcement experience. As a department with a relatively young department, implementation of this program will allow for senior officers to provide mentorship and guidance, drawing upon their years of experience. All right, Chief, anything you'd like to add?
Good morning. I'm sorry, good evening.
Good
Mayor and
evening.
Council. I have nothing to add, but just one small piece of information as it relates to the implementation of this program. We have, like I said, it's an extremely young department, and I want to be able to have the best officers in the city of River. Ooh. I did it, Mr. Clark. I did it, Mr. Clark. Sorry about that. In the city of Forest Park, and with a relatively young agency, we have a lot of senior officers coming into the department. And with that being said, implementation of this program is going to allow a mentorship within the agency to help progress our officers. So I just wanted to bring this before Mayor and Council for discussion, if there's any questions.
Thank you, Councilwoman James.
Thank you. No questions.
Councilman Gutierrez, Councilman Antoine.
Good job, Chief. No questions.
Councilman Gutierrez.
I love the initiative, Chief. I'm taking a class now on hiring procedures and, just the retention of employees, and that has a huge, it's a huge percentage, the amount of turnover there is when people don't feel supported. So I'm glad you're standing in front of it and, not later assessing it. So, thank you.
Councilwoman Wells
I second that. Thank you, Chief.
and Councilman Mears. Okay, thank you, Chief. We are on. Sorry. Item 8, council discussion and approval to amend the simplified noise ordinance, background and history. It is proposed that the city's noise ordinance be significantly simplified. The ordinance was last amended on October 5th of 2020. Under the current ordinance, a decibel meter is required to be utilized to determine whether a person is in violation of the ordinance. It is proposed that the city move toward a plainly audible standard under which a violation is noted where a noise is plainly audible more than 100 feet from the source of the noise. This standard is more consistent with the state's noise enforcement standards and easier to enforce. Chief, anything you'd like to add?
Yes. So current Georgia law requires officers to use the training of their ears as well as visual as it relates to distance, as it relates to enforcing noise violation from moving cars and things of that nature. The current city ordinance is very difficult to enforce because there's many different stipulations inside of the current ordinance. This current ordinance has been pushed through legal and basically allows the officers to use their eyes and ears as it relates to enforcement of the city ordinance.
Thank you. Councilwoman James.
No questions.
Councilman Antoine.
No questions.
Councilman Gutierrez.
So, Chief, what would y'all use then? Is there like an actual tool?
No, previously, the way the city ordinance was written is, yes, they would use a decibel meter. And they would have to go to the department to get the decibel reader and then return back to the location. By that time, the noise is gone. Now, when officers arrive, they would exit the vehicle and they would take a guesstimation or estimation on how far they are from the location where they're hearing this noise pollution. And if it's outside of 100 feet and they hear it, they'll be able to enforce it.
Councilwoman Wells.
No.
And Councilman Mears.
No questions.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Item 9, council discussion on C-Click Fix, background and history. As part of our One Forest Park initiative, we continue to find ways to better interact with our residents. From tree branches to street issues, C-Click Fix will allow residents to report quality of life issues to the City of Forest Park. C-Click Fix, the place-based reporting platform, allows residents to document neighborhood concerns and improvements alike, ranging from litter and flooding to damaged sidewalks and malfunctioning traffic signals. The application will geolocate the issue, which allows city staff and other relevant agencies the ability to see the specific concern and know its location. The application allows residents to receive updates from the city as the issue is resolved. And so, Mr. Clark, is there any representative from C-Click Fix?
No, ma'am.
No,
Our
you have the
Director
floor.
of Information Technology and myself, we're going to tackle this one. We are really excited to present this item as we step our first foot inside for modernization and digitization of the city of Forest Park. One of the things that I've noticed since I've been here is that our council members and our mayor are very busy within their respective wards. And so this will just aid in some of the phone calls. It'll aid in some of the calls to you, to your constituents and to your city manager. However, it allows for accountability on all sides. We will be able to provide you monthly reports as to when the infraction, regardless of what it was, happened. In addition to that, you would be able to see in a heat map format where the different violations are going on, whether it's code violations, whether it's public works. And one of the things that I shared with SeeClick Fix is that we want to be the first entity that integrated all of their departments under one app. The beauty of it is both myself and our information technology director, Mr. Cox, have utilized this system. So our aggressive plan is to implement this app and release this app before the end of summer with full Forest Park branding, not only just with our new city logo and our seal and pictures of our elected officials, but also we'll be able to push notifications, whether it's weather alerts, if it's special events going on within our recreation and leisure department. Also, if it's just our police department simply with Ebola or a missing person, we'll be able to use one comprehensive application to push this information out to everyone. Councilman Gutierrez sent this information to us based upon a call that he had. I believe it was 2 years ago. And so we took the ball and ran with it just to try to get it over once and for all. Anything further as it relates to the technological infrastructure, I rely on our Director of Information Technology, Mr. Cox.
Sure. I'll be happy to answer any questions, but I think you hit most of it.
Councilwoman James.
So, yeah, I do remember this presentation at one of our conferences. So how much is this gonna cost? I know it says it's budgeted for.
So the complete cost of SeeClick Fix is tethering around $20,000. One of the things that we're going to identify, since this is a way for us to continue to communicate and enhance our technological infrastructure, we're going to look at the feasibility of using already designated ARPA funding for this cause. In addition, if we're not able to use ARPA funding, which we know that we will be, we have some additional funds left within our technological budget that we can use to offset the cost of this expense, just based upon us being at year end.
Okay, thank you.
Councilman Antoine.
No comments.
Councilman Gutierrez. Councilwoman Wells. And Councilman Mears.
I agree.
All right, thank you. Thank you. Item 10, council discussion on the City Edge Project quarterly update. Background and history. On September 7th, 2021, the City Council approved to set aside $400,000 of the American Rescue Fund's allotment to aid with rental assistance specifically for residents of the City of Forest Park. The city received a proposal from the City Edge Project based in Forest Park on assisting with the administration of the city's rental assistance program. This is a quarterly update for Mayor and City Council on the City of Forest Park's Fast Track Rental Assistance Program. This program is administered by the City Edge Initiative on behalf of the city. And hi, thank you for joining us. You have the floor.
I actually had a presentation that was up there, but I have a small printout of the chart that I have on there because it was small to see.
Okay, wait, hold on. Miss Diane, do we have
We
the?
have it. It's in our book.
Oh, we don't, okay.
Yeah, it's in the book.
We just don't have it for everyone to see, but we have it up here.
Okay, do you guys want the chart so you can see the numbers?
It's in front of
It's in our book.
So
Excuse me, can you state your name, please?
yes, Ashley Beeler with City Edge Projects. So I want to give you an update on the numbers since we started the second quarter with 300,000. The numbers have been very low. For the third quarter from October, November, December, we had 1, 2 to 3 people. Going forward, that was only 21,000. Moving forward, January to March, we only spent, well, there was a little bit higher. We spent 45,000. But the numbers were between 4 to 6. It's the same for the next 2 months, far as April and May. The numbers, they're consistent, but they're low. So I don't know what you guys want to do to move forward because we're not spending that much. I was invited to do a community fair that's coming up on Saturday, the 24th, to sit with some other programs that are doing rental assistance and hope that will help to increase the numbers so that we can go ahead and move this money because we still have a good little bit left. We have a total of about 148,000 left that we can spend for rental assistance. You guys have any questions so far about the numbers that I've stated?
Were you done with your presentation?
It's not much to say. The numbers are consistent. They're low. I had on the presentation as far as the income, that's still been an issue. We had about 63% that was able to, that have income is just low. They're still not able to pay their rent. They need more. The numbers are still increasing as far as denied people because they just don't qualify for COVID, which is the main issue.
Thank you. Councilwoman James.
No questions.
Councilman Antoine.
No question.
Councilman Gutierrez.
I guess, thank you so much for the presentation. The need is definitely there, like you said. I guess it's just because of the qualifications of what it needs to be for COVID. I don't know if the council, if we can change it in any way. I've been to a few events that our school district has had at extended stay motels, and we have a few here in Forest Park, and we have a lot of our children in these communities, that could use that help. So I hope that we can reconsider if possible allocating that money.
Thank you. Councilwoman Wells.
Yes, that's exactly what I was gonna say. Like, maybe we need to change the qualifications because we know there is a need for the funds. So we just need to figure out how to get them to the community. And how are we as a city, pushing out the information so that residents know about it? So it's not that they aren't applying, because people are applying. They're
They're
just,
applying. A lot of people are coming. A lot of other people from other cities are hearing about us. And of course, I have to reject them because they're not Forest Park residents. Some are applying that are in Forest Park. They don't meet the qualifications because the last meeting we talked about, the treasury said, hey, it has to be COVID related. We can't change it. That's another issue. But as far as the extended stays, we've had a few people to apply, but I know that wasn't a requirement. So of course I had to reject them. But I think we should change it if we can.
so there's still nothing we can, like, it has to be COVID related. Like, it has to be. We can't change that.
Can we change the time frame on it?
What do you mean from?
I know that's something that we talked about before. A lot of times, like for example, they may say they had COVID in January, but then you're only behind for this current month. It doesn't really justify that you was behind due to COVID. So I know we talked about before, should it matter when they had COVID? Can we just help them, or just to go ahead and use the money, or, how do you guys want to proceed with that?
Okay, let me get through the rest of the questions and then I'll have the city manager address that. Councilman Mears, is there anything you would like to add? Okay, well, my question would be if the state of emergency surrounding COVID has ended. So can we still use these funds for COVID related purposes, or can we reallocate it as the council seems to be directing?
Great question, Mayor. One of the reasons why we wanted to have this presentation, I've spoken to Ms. Beeler and her team. My recommendation is for us to bring this funding in-house, reevaluate the program, issue new guidance relative to how we spend the dollars, and then reissue it. My thought process is individuals experiencing evictions at this point, some of it could be based upon the fact that during the pandemic, they got so far behind. And even with the assistance that we've provided them, they're only able, based upon the requirements of this particular program, they're only able to receive said funds one time. Some of the individuals have requested it twice, but my thought process is, let's bring this funding in-house. Let's reevaluate the program. Let's look at the needs of our community. Let's get with our PRO to issue a new marketing campaign, and then decide how we wish to move forward with expending said dollars, because we only have a little bit more time to expend down these dollars. So
Thank you.
if it's the pleasure of the board, it's an action item just for direction from mayor and council to see if we can reevaluate how we handle this program.
Is that something that the council would be amenable to?
Yes.
I agree.
Yeah. Yes,
I
ma'am.
would, I definitely agree that we can reevaluate, but I also want to make sure that we are following the guidelines. Because when we applied for the funds, or when we got the funds, there were certain requirements or restrictions that were placed in order for us to receive the funds. So we need to make sure that we're going back to that too as we reevaluate.
Yes, ma'am. And the final rule that the Department of the Treasury issued, as I'm sure you will know, it changed several times. So as long as the intent of said fund speaks to the corpse of us helping or improving a community that was distressed throughout the pandemic, I think we'll be fine. Because what happened, your allocation of funding was based upon, again, your population size. And then you as a local governing body had the opportunity to choose within certain standards what you allocated said funds for. So with us bringing it back in, it allowed us to do a claim sweep. We're able to take them off of it, bring it back in, reevaluate the program, issue new guidance, and then re-push the program as to how mayor and council wants to see it happen.
Okay.
And I spoke with Ms. Beeler about it.
Any other questions or comments? Thank you.
I
Oh,
have
yes,
one
ma'am.
more question. Should I go ahead and move forward with the event on the 24th right now until you guys give me the okay to, until you guys ask for the money back to reallocate it?
Mr. Clark will be back in touch because we're going to vote on it in our 7 o'clock hour.
Okay.
Thank you. Item 11, discussion of a home repair grant program and guidelines. Background and history. Is this part of it? Okay. The final Treasury rules around the American Rescue Plan Act funds, which took effect April of 2022, appropriated funds that local municipalities could use to aid disproportionately impacted households and communities. Per the direction of the City Council, the city manager reviewed several programs to determine the proper criteria and use and submit for council review and prerogative the attached guidelines. Such improvements will increase the lifespan of the city's housing stock, work to address systemic housing inequities, and stabilize home values for the neighborhood and the residents. In February of 2023, the city issued an RFP for home repair and associated guidelines. The RFP was advertised on February 21st, 2023, and 3 proposals were received. The fees for the services came in well over $300,000 per year. After extensive conversation with the city manager, the city manager is requesting to save the money for the consultant and bring the process in-house. Okay, that was it. Is there anything you'd like to add?
Yes, ma'am. Mayor and council, again, my apologies. We have really been going in and looking at the way that we do business as a city. Mr. Jeter worked hard to push out this RFP for these dollars that have been appropriated for this home repair program. However, there is no way that I can look at you in your face and tell you that we expended $300,000 on a consultant to do work that you pay administrators work every day. For this type of a program, it's a simple grant application. We'll make it easy to where they can either fill it out digitally or electronically, submit it through the Office of Grants within my office, and we'll move forward with it that way. I just don't think it's a good use of our funds to pay a consultant $300,000 when those funds can be pushed out to the community to begin to repair some of the houses that are here. The other thing that we're looking to do, this program was limited to only residential units, but when we travel up and down some of our busy commercial districts, we see things such as abandoned signs, buildings that need to be painted. We don't really get the feel of what I know you all envision for this community. And so a portion of these funds, we would also like to appropriate it to businesses for the purposes of beautification. And those beautification efforts do not include dollars inside the store. It simply includes you ensuring that the aesthetics of your building resemble what it is that I know you all want to see. So my request here tonight is to not move forward with the RFP, not expend the $300,000, move forward with allowing our residents, our seniors especially, to receive said funds and reevaluating the program criteria that we have and hope to release this program sometime by midsummer. Mr. Jeter is here to add more regarding the RFP process that he issued out.
You have the floor, sir.
Basically, what we're requesting is that we cancel this RFP and follow city manager's lead and bring it in-house.
Thank you.
So,
Councilwoman James, any questions or comments?
so the question I have is, okay, so the RFP was to determine, I guess, the funds that we were gonna use to fix up the homes in the community, not necessarily the business community or the city facilities, but the actual homes, and correct me if I'm wrong.
Correct.
But, so if we're moving it in-house, are we now saying that, we will have an opportunity for our seniors or our, people that are, living our legacy residents, I think that's what he called them, can apply for some type of, home improvement through us? Is
Yes,
that what we're
ma'am.
saying? Okay.
Because the RFP that he's issued was actually for a consulting firm to assist with the city distributing the money, similar to
Gotcha.
City Edge. And so what we're saying, based upon the cost that we receive back, we would rather appropriate that $300,000 to help even more of the legacy residents that we have in this community.
Okay.
Incidentally, that was $300,000 per year.
Okay.
Thank you. Councilman Antoine, any questions or comments?
No, thank you, thank you.
Councilman Gutierrez?
No, I'm excited about this. Thank you for bringing that back in. And I guess, you know, the seniors, and I think I like the business aspect of adding this to it. Let's make sure we keep a balance of like 70% people, 30% business or something. Because I like it and I understand it, but I want this idea was more for our people, but I'm all about beautification. But I want to make sure that the helm and the majority of this money goes to our people. And also, I guess, what's the process of who's gonna do these jobs, Mr. Jeter, like what, because I know different contracting companies that are smaller within the city that I think would be a great opportunity to give, you know, those kind of opportunity to come up, because it's not a huge contract, but it could be a smaller thing to keep it even that local.
Originally, it was $10,000 per homeowner. And I guess we still need to address that, but that's approximately over 100 different homes that we could address. And since it's only about 10,000, you will only have small contractors who would even be eligible to even want to participate in this. So we'll make sure that the homeowners are aware of small contractors, but it's up to the homeowner to contract those contractors for the work.
So we don't have like a recommended list, they choose whoever they want?
I'm not sure if we want to get into that.
My recommendation would not be for us to have a list. However, the contract would have to be bonded, insured, and have a valid state license. That way, we're not getting involved or endorsing a company that goes out and do bad work. That way, we're totally off the hook. And the funding would go to the contractor, correct?
That's correct.
One of the other things that we'll have to address, one of the council members asked, was if the resident could pay, let's just say one, I remember going to the senior center, one of our legacy residents asked about replacing their HVAC because their home has never had HVAC. Well, if they could pay for it, they would have already had it done. But we're relying on them to pay for it and we reimburse them. So, you know, it's just something we got to look at perhaps, you know, if that is the situation, perhaps we work with our legal team to come up with some type of agreement to pay the contractor half, because we know the senior doesn't have the money to do the work. Just so I'm not sure how Attorney Williams will feel about that, but we have to consider if the individual seniors could do the work themselves, then they would not need our grant dollars.
Talking to the microphone. Like, talk into the microphone. Oh.
Oh, yeah. So one of the things we had talked about was, requiring that residents to get several bids, so, 3 bids to submit. And then the staff would review and just confirm that they had the body, they haven't taken that. They were getting the value that we want to have. We don't want them to get ripped off and pay too much, that sort of thing. But similarly to the rental program, we can insist that we pay the contractor directly. And so that would resolve at least in part some of the situations the city manager is talking about.
Councilman Wells
No.
and Councilman Mears.
I agree.
All right, thank you. So we have about 9 minutes, and I know we have one executive session item. We think we can. All right, I'm going to ask for a motion to recess the work session and enter into executive session for personnel, litigation, real estate, or legal matters.
So moved.
That was Councilwoman James. Is there a second? That was Councilwoman Wells. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you, and we shall return.
I'll call you.
Mr. Clark, we have a meeting, please. Okay, is there a motion to adjourn the executive session and reconvene
So
into our
moved.
regular meeting?
Can they come sit up here?
Yeah, we have these seats up here if people want to sit. But I did ask for a motion.
So
moved.
move.
That was Councilwoman James and second by Councilwoman Wells. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, thank you. Now, is there a motion to adjourn the work session?
So move.
That was Councilwoman Wells, the second by Councilwoman James. All in favor? Opposed? Yeah. All right, so it is 7:07 and the regular session for mayor and council for June 20th is called to order. Minister Cook of Rock Church will do tonight's invocation. So all those who are able to stand, can you please do so and remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance?
Amen. Well, let us pray. Heavenly Father, we just come to you today. First, just thank you for just another day of life, another opportunity, God, just to see this earth, Father God, and be a part of the change that's taking place, God, in our environments, respectively, Father. I just come now, God, just lifting up each and every council member, Father God, praying that you endow them with your wisdom, Father. We're thankful for all the great ideas, God, that has been coming about during the past couple of meetings, Father God. And we just ask, Father God, that you lead us and guide us by your spirit, Father God, to make the right choices, that we may position ourselves for the blessing, Father God, that for generations to come, they will be able to look back at this time and see that we were people that chose to serve the Lord, God, and chose to make decisions that lines up with the blessing, Father. And if there's anything that we have done, God, that was not in alignment, God, we just ask that you forgive us, God, cast into that sea of forgetfulness, Father. Let us use this time tonight, God, even to regroup and reconnect, Father God, with your vision for this city, Father. I thank you for every person that's represented. God, I just pray, Lord, you fill this place with your peace, fill it with your joy, fill it with your love, God. Even bless every person present. God, let them leave out, God, with the joy of the Lord is their strength. And I ask these things in Jesus' name. Amen.
Ms. White, roll call, please.
Roll call for the regular meeting, June 20th, 2023. Councilmember James.
Present.
Councilmember Anton.
Good evening, everybody. How's everybody doing?
Councilmember Heck Gutierrez. Councilmember Aiken Wells.
Here.
Councilmember Mears.
Here.
Mayor and council, you have a quorum.
All right, thank you so much. So we have a series of recognitions and proclamations to issue. So I'm going to ask my governing body if you guys can come forward with me so we can get started with the first of our recognition, which will be the Forest Park High School. Oh, thank you. What's the proclamation? We have everything. Also for the Forest Park High School recognitions. Background and history. In an effort to celebrate the accomplishments of Forest Park High School, Councilwoman James is sponsoring the following certificates of recognition. Mr. Bradley Murphy, who is the regional pitcher of the year for 2022 and 2023. And if you could just stand, and we're gonna come take a picture. Okay. Deontay Millie, who's the Principal's Award recipient. Okay. Yes. Elijah Johnson, who's the Regional Player of the Year for 2022 and 2023. There you go, sir. Samuel Garcia, Samuel Garcia is a 2022-2023 Forest Park High School Teacher of the Year. definitely deserve recognition. Alicia Jones. Elisha Jones, who is the Fox 5 Teacher of the Year. We have Mr. Eduardo Gopher, who is the Forest Park High School 2022-2023 valedictorian. Then we have Miss Jing Tran, who is the 2022-2023 salutatorian. And then we have Mr. Corey Hargett, who's the 2023 Boys Soccer Coach of the Year for Region 3-6A. And I'm going to ask, I know there's some words you would like to share with us, so I will give you the podium, sir.
I want to say good evening to everybody. And first, I want to give thanks to several people in here. I want to thank Councilwoman James, for the recognition. I also want to thank Dr. Dancy and the staff at Forest Park, because none of this would be possible without these two ladies and all the kids and everyone in the community. So I just want to say thank you, this acknowledgement, and hopefully we'll keep making you guys proud. And when you're bored next spring, come out and support the soccer program, come out and support baseball, because we're doing some great things. We're trying to win a championship. We're close, but we would really appreciate your support. And last but not least, I want to thank my wife for coming and supporting me, because when I'll say this as a coach, when soccer season starts, I don't see my wife too much. And when I get home, I usually don't want to be bothered, especially if we lost or something didn't go the way I wanted it. But she's really been very supportive of me during my journey. So I want to just say thank you. And thank you guys, the parents and the community.
Okay, we also have Mr. Joshua Frohnberger, the 2023 Baseball Coach of the Year for Region 3-6A. And Mr. Frohnberger is going to share some words with us this evening.
Thank you all for coming out. Just to piggyback off what Coach Hargett said, I'd like to thank the administration, Dr. Dancy and her staff, as well as the whole Councilwoman James and her staff, and a special to Ms. Akins-Wells as my first cousin on this. As you can see, this is a Forest Park thing. I'm a Forest Park kid, grew up in Forest Park, and, came back to the high school to teach and to also teach the game of baseball. And this year we was blessed to have the Player of the Year as well as the Pitcher of the Year, because, just their hard work on and off the field, in and out the classroom, the persistence and just great foundational parents they have. And it's just a testimony to the dedication of Forest Park. If we have to support just two players, we probably can have more of that throughout the school. So thank you all for coming out. Thank you for the recognition as well.
Wells would like to say something.
Yes. I just want to say, I am so proud of my cousin. I'm sorry, this is a cousin moment. I am so proud of you. And we are just kids from Forest Park. We grew up in the city of Forest Park, and we are serving the city of Forest Park. And I just want to tell you a little bit about the type of man that this guy is. And I'm getting emotional talking about it. Because coming up in Forest Park, it wasn't easy. But he's a product of his environment. He left, he went to play baseball, and he came back to give back to the community that raised him. And I am just so proud of you. He has instilled so much in my son. And my son graduated this year. He also played with Elijah, and I am so proud of you, Elijah. Congratulations. But I just want to say, when you live in the community, you can leave and come back and give back to that same community. And Josh Frohnberger is living proof. So I just want to say thank you. I thank God for you. And I'm glad that you came back to the city of Forest Park that raised you to serve your community. So thank you.
So I want to bring up Dr. Dancy and Miss Victoria Williams, school board member. Come on up, Miss Williams. Don't sit there. Dr. Dancy, come on up. This is the principal of Forest Park High School. I know I'm putting you on the spot. Say a couple words for us.
Well, just good evening, and I was so excited when given the invitation by Ms. James. I'm the recently appointed principal, although I've been at Forest Park High School for 10 years. And this is just a small example of the greatness that's going on at Forest Park High School. We had a few individuals that could not be here. One is a salutatorian who has a full ride to Brown University. Our other salutatorian could not be here. She's going to Georgia Tech on a full scholarship. You see EJ, you see Bradley, you see Coach Josh, you see Coach Hargett. There are amazing and awesome things going on at Forest Park. And we just wish to keep on with the greatness and the excellence. So thank you.
I just want to say congratulations to everyone.
We might need y'all to come back and give some pointers to the PD and Parks and Rec. 'Cause currently the fire department is dominated.
Oh, yes, yes. Yes. Okay. Okay, we do have a council meeting to finish. Flirting? Oh, okay. Okay, so we're gonna skip number 2 for now, so we can finish on the proclamation and the other recognitions, and then we'll jump back to the presentation. And so this next item is the proclamation in recognition of the LGBTQ+ Pride Month. And the proclamation is as follows. The City of Forest Park has a long-standing commitment to diversity, equity, and inclusion, as well as a strong belief in the civil and constitutional rights of all individuals across our great nation. And whereas, as part of the city's One Forest Park initiative, it should be known that no matter your age, race, creed, gender, or sexual orientation, individuals should be treated with respect and dignity and able to live without fear no matter who they love. And whereas nationwide, gay pride events are held during the month of June to commemorate the 1969 Stonewall riots that were sparked in response to ongoing police harassment of New York's gay community. And whereas many of the residents, business owners, students, and city employees who contribute to the enrichment of our city are a part of the lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, queer, and questioning or LGBTQ+ community. And whereas the long battle for inclusion has led to much positive progress toward changing the hearts and minds of people in many parts of the world, which in turn has helped pave the way for a more inclusive society where LGBTQ+ individuals can live freely, safe, and free from discrimination. Now, therefore, it be resolved, the City of Forest Park hereby recognizes the month of June as lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, and Queer Pride Month and invites everyone to reflect on ways we can all live together through mutual respect and understanding. And so on behalf of the city of Forest Park, we have two members who will stand and receive such a proclamation. But if there's anyone who would love to stand in solidarity with the members of our LGBTQ plus community, we ask that you stand with us so we can take a picture and so they can receive the award. And so we'll ask our very own fabulous Officer Sparks and the amazing Javon Lloyd. No. So come on. And if anyone else would like to stand, you're more than welcome to do so.
So when, oh, sorry. Good evening. So when they asked me about this proclamation, the first thing I told my boss was maybe we need to get RuPaul down here to accept the award because, yeah, but out of all honesty, I just want to say thank you to the mayor and council. And one of the things that I did reflect on was that I had to realize that it's not easy for everybody. There's still a lot of people out there that face discrimination. I know a lot of friends who have lost jobs or employment just because of how they want to live their life. So I just want to say thank you. And I appreciate being able to come to a job each and every day where I can be myself and I'm not judged because of the way I live, but by the character of my work and by the character of who I am as a person. So thank you. I need somebody to take a picture.
I guess. Yeah. I ain't really gonna say nothing. Yeah, I mean, mayor, council, citizens of Forest Park and, my employees. Thank you. I mean, there's nothing better being able to come to work and be yourself and not be judged by, what you go home to. I mean, I'm grateful. So, I'm happy to be here. Thank you.
Sorry. I think we're good. I think we're good. Yes, do we have something for him? Is this just, I'm just reading this one. Okay, so the next item is in recognition of Mr. Edwin Torres and background and history. Under the auspices of the University of Georgia Carl Vinson Institute of Government, the Code Enforcement Officer Certificate Program is designed to enhance the knowledge and skills of those persons responsible for the enforcement of environmental, housing, and land use codes in Georgia. The program is jointly sponsored by the Georgia Association of Code Enforcement. We are excited to acknowledge that Code Officer Edwin Torres recently completed all of the requirements of the Georgia Association of Code Enforcement Level 2 certificate program as of March 10th of 2023. This is a noteworthy accomplishment and brings credit to our city and shows his commitment to professional standards. He will be acknowledged in a formal ceremony on September 22nd of 2023 during the 2023 Georgia Association of Code Enforcement Fall Conference. So Mr. Torres, are you with us today? Oh, there you go. Come on, so we could, come on. And all of our code enforcement officers are present with us today. So could you please stand so we can honor and recognize you all as well? And step forward, we're going to take a picture. Yeah, I'm gonna stand.
I just want to say thank you to the city for allowing, code enforcement to advance to the next level. I want to also thank our director, LaShawn Gardner, for, allowing us that budget to go out there and receive these certifications. Also to our coach, Officer Fleming, who is our supervisor, for coaching us, you know, on a daily basis. That's all. Thank you, city. Thank you.
The arrows? No?
Wait, we got one more. Oh, we got two more. Actually, I am going to ask our very own Chief Chris, if you could come forward for the next two. And so, yes, we're at number 5.
Good evening again, Mayor and Council and citizens of Forest Park. So on June the 5th, 2023, Master Patrol Shelton received a very special award from the Attorney General's office in Washington, D.C. If I could just get everyone to focus your attention on the screen to my left, just for a small snippet of the award. And I'm not sure if we can increase the volume just a tad bit. So Officer Shelton, can I get you to come back up front? And let me just kind of read to everyone what transpired. So Officer Shelton responded to a domestic call involving a woman who was suicidal and threatening her husband with a rifle. Upon Officer Shelton's arrival, the threats were then targeted towards the officers and her. After 4 hours of negotiations, Officer Shelton was able to get the woman to surrender. Officer Shelton, calm demeanor and quick thinking protected and saved lives of the public as well as the woman involved in this situation.
Oh, you want, yeah, that's the one, yeah.
You gotta go to number 7, number 6.
No, you go to that one, then we gotta go back to number 2. No.
One more. Good evening again. So one of the things I implemented as a police chief with Forest Park to help boost morale and productivity within the department was Officer of the Month program. The commanders reviewed all areas of productivity as it relates to the job functions as a police officer. In doing so, we were able to recognize one of our own as a top producer. Officer Pope, can you come up front for me, please? So Officer Pope was one of the most productive officers as it relates to law enforcement, traffic enforcement, reports taken, written and taken, while also having great attendance. Please help me recognize Officer Pope on the job well done. gonna say something else.
I would just like to say, thanks to the chief. You know, it's good coming to work and being, just a great job. It's make you want to come to work and work. But yeah.
Okay, now we could go back. Yeah. Well, so we're gonna move this back. So we got to do number 2.
We good? You want this, waste management downstairs to be in the pictures.
I'm gonna do it, Councilman Gutierrez.
Who gets sleepy? He started talking.
So all you're doing is just standing, like.
Get overwhelmed.
Javon wanted me to tell y'all can frame this one.
Oh, shh. Okay, if we could settle down, we do have some remaining items to go over. So we're going to go back to item 2. DHS Medicaid redetermination presentation. Background and history. Excuse me. The United States Congress passed the Families First Coronavirus Act in March of 2020 in response to the COVID-19 pandemic. The Families First Coronavirus Response Act gave states a temporary 6.2% federal medical assistance percentage increase if states ensured continuous coverage for individuals on Medicaid on or after March 18th of 2020, with a step down per quarter during the calendar year of 2023. In December of 2022, Congress passed a federal spending bill that separates the end of the Families First Coronavirus Response Act continuous enrollment condition from the end of the COVID-19 public health emergency and ends that condition on March 31st of 2023, thus ending states to terminate Medicaid enrollment of individuals who no longer meet Medicaid eligibility requirements on or after April 1st of 2023. Guidance has evolved at Medicaid.gov for how states should conduct Medicaid redeterminations, address workforce and technology challenges, notify individuals that their coverage may end, and offer opportunities for supplying more information or appealing a decision. Currently, states will have a 14-month window from April 1st, 2023 to conduct redeterminations. In Georgia, the Department of Community Health and Department of Human Services will jointly reevaluate roughly 2.7 million individuals for Medicaid eligibility. Georgia must complete all Medicaid redeterminations, pending eligibility actions, disenrollments, and appeals by May 31st of 2024. And if you could state your name and then you have the floor. Oh, bless you.
Hello, my name is Martha Whaley. I'm with the Department of Family and Children Services Community Outreach Team. Okay, and I would like to thank Ms. James for opening up this this opportunity to come out and share this information with you. I'm going to refer to some notes because I want to make sure that we get the clear information out, because I know it may be some information that may not be correct. That's been, put out in different areas. But today I'm sharing the information that we share with our community partners. The purpose of this is to bring awareness to the community about the Medicaid redetermination process that's taking place in Georgia. We'll have the introduction, what is redetermination and what is happening. Also make sure the DHS and DCH can contact members, and we'll do a recap of the information. And we will love your help to get this information out into the community, to the hardest reach individuals. We want to ensure the message that we're trying to make the community aware of is to have members that receive Medicaid, Peach Care for Kids to go into their Gateway account, update their contact information, and check their redetermination dates. Okay, as of April 23rd, Georgia will return. We're returning to this process because before the pandemic, this was the regular process for individuals receiving Medicaid and Peach Care for Kids. Because of the pandemic, it was opened up that more individuals could meet the criteria for Medicaid, Peach Care for Kids. So what their state is doing right now is honing in and getting only those individuals that are still eligible for Medicaid. Not everyone would go through this process at the same time. It will take about 14 months for individuals to get through the whole process from April to June of 2024. The state will be redetermining Medicaid Peach Care for Kids eligibility. Okay. So how to prepare for eligibility? One of the most important things members can do during this process is to make sure that their contact information is up to date. They can do that by going into Gateway through the mobile app or the local DFACS office or by phone. Members, make sure that they change their information and keep it updated. This will help DHS get them any information that they will need for their redetermination process. And remember, DHS is reviewing members in batches. Not everyone will go through this process at the same time. This process will take up into June of 2024. Members can update their information 3 ways. They can go online, which is the Gateway portal. They can do it in person at their local DFACS office, and they can find out the hours for the local DFACS office by going to dfacs.ga.gov to see when their local office is opened. They can also do that, also go by phone to also check for how to update this information, which is the DFACS customer service number. Redetermination process. Some of the members may remember going through this circumstance before the pandemic, and DHS has worked to make sure that it's remained the same or similar to what they did before the pandemic. Once a member is assigned their redetermination date in Gateway, they will receive a letter or email letting them know when their redetermination date is. The letter or email may ask the member to provide check stubs or any supporting documents to support their claim for eligibility. If a member is a SNAP or TANF customer, DHS has worked to make sure that all of their dates are working together and they're not double asking for information. So everything will be together and they will do one redetermination process. And that is for SNAP and TANF members. Members will get advance notice when the redetermination process begins. They should be on the lookout within 45 days before a member's coverage is scheduled to end. The letter will explain that a member's redetermination window has begun and that they may have to submit documents like pay stubs to complete their review process. If DHS has not heard from the member after a month, the member will get a reminder letter. This reminder is to be sent to DHS members' information is usually sent about 2 weeks before the deadline. It may take about 30 days for the redetermination process to be completed. Okay. And this is so important, and I'm so grateful for the opportunity to be here, because during the pandemic, about roughly 500,000 new members joined the Medicaid or Peach Care for Kids. So it's important that you as leaders, as community members, help us to get this information out to the community, especially those that are hard to reach, maybe without internet or without phones, to help us please get this information out. Okay. Okay, and I just want to do a recap. I'm almost finished. I'll make sure I stay within my time frame. I'm just do a recap. The federal government is now asking Georgia, along with every other state, not only Georgia, but everyone, to review the eligibility for Peach Care and Medicaid, Peach Care for Kids and Medicaid. That's why we are restarting. We're restarting the process. It's not a new process. We're just restarting the old process that was before the pandemic. It's a yearly process of determining eligibility for Medicaid and Peach Care for Kids. And we can't do it without your help, everybody's help in the room. Please help us to get this information out to our community members. Not everyone will go through the process at the same time. It will take about 14 months, and the members will be determined in batches. One of the most important things members can do during the redetermination is to make sure that their contact information is updated in Gateway, because that's how they will receive the letters notifying them when the state is starting their redetermination process. It's important members update the information. Again, they can do it through the portal, at the local DFACS office or over the phone. And again, SNAP and TANF customers, if they are receiving Medicaid, it will all be done at one time. If the state finds that a member is still eligible, they will get a letter letting them know that they are good, their coverage is good for another year, or that a letter will ask for information about supporting documents. If a member has aged out of Peach Care for Kids or no longer eligible for Medicaid, DHS will share alternative marketplace coverage options in that same letter. There are more places to learn information. You can also learn information from www.staycovered.ga.gov. There is a information Spanish and English version available. I will also leave flyers, if I can, out front with this same information, where you'll be able to get more information than what I'm going over here today. Again, thank you for allowing me to come. I hope that you have learned some information, more information, or more informed about the Medicaid redetermination process that's taking place in Georgia. The focus of the awareness is to share information about the redetermination with the hardest to reach members. We want them to go into Gateway, update their contact information, and look for their date for redetermination, because the dates when members are redetermination dates are already in their Gateway portal. So thank you so much for having me.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Wait, we may have questions or comments. Councilwoman James?
So I would just say that when I first spoke with Ms. Martha, and she shared the information about if you get a letter and you don't answer and your contact information is not correct, you're gonna lose your service. You're gonna lose your services. So it's really important for us, especially those community members that are transient, that they go in and update their information so that, you know, they don't lose benefits for their kids. So thank you so much for coming out.
Any questions?
Councilman Antoine?
Yes, thank you so much. I took so much mental notes, and I will be working on this. I will be spreading this information. Thank you for this information.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Councilman Gutierrez?
Yeah, thank you so much, ma'am. I guess my only question is like, how can people get more information if they have questions about this? Because I have had a few, and I guess I refer them to the government website, but if we had like a person, that would be really helpful.
A person, yes, I will. Ms. James has my contact information. I will share if she can also share your contact information, email with me. I will send you an email with the information I discussed with more links to get more information that you're able to share Again, I will leave some flyers outside that you can surely get to, you get some of those links, make copies and share with anyone in your community.
Thank you, ma'am. And is there information in Spanish also?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Councilwoman Wells,
No, thank you.
Councilman Mears. Okay, and I will say, Councilman Gutierrez, State Representative Rhonda Brunel, she has a flyer that we're gonna post on our website. And she shared with me this afternoon that in conjunction with Chairman Turner and the Clayton County Board of Health, they are coming up with a systemic plan to go into the communities to make sure that people, one, have awareness, and two, have the ability to answer the call of the letter or to check their profiles accordingly, just to make sure. And so it is really incumbent upon all of us to make sure that we really get the word out to ensure that none of our residents fall out of this redetermination process. Absolutely. Yes, yes. So thank you so much. Whew. Councilman Gutierrez. Okay, up next is the public comments. Per our charter, 3 minutes is allotted per speaker. So long as we do not go over 21 minutes. And so we do have 3 speakers tonight, with the first being Mr. Carl Evans. You're doing very good. You're doing good.
Thank you, Mayor and Council.
Yes, sir.
I know I've probably mentioned this before, but I would really love to see us addressing these issues with our streets. I don't know if it's city or if it's the partners over at Gillum that's responsible for the roads over there. But you got Metcalf there at Birch Drive. They've got about a 30-foot section that's in horrible shape. And then right on the other side of the intersection, you've got a place about the size of that green circle up there and about 4 inches deep, that if somebody's right on the edge, but if somebody was to get over there, I mean, they could do some damage to the vehicle. And then down right at the Enclave entrance, there's an area that's probably the size of a football. If you're on a motorcycle and hit that, that could be a problem. But there's just spots all over, you know. And then on Anvil Block there at Kroger Drive by the light, there's one stretch there, there's like 6 spots right in a row, and then some other places out there. But if I was a business owner looking to build especially a multi-million-dollar thing, if I looked at that and I said, the city can't even take care of their infrastructure and things like that, I don't know if I would want to bring my business over here. It's just like Main Street. I mean, I know that we're going to be addressing the fence and all that stuff, but the majority of Main Street is in horrible shape, you know, and we don't even have sidewalks all the way up to the end. If you're going, you know, north up there towards Wendy's and all that stuff, we got all those warehouses and things up there, and, you know, and apartments and things up there, that we don't have sidewalks up there past Hale Drive, basically right into that area, and what used to be Hill Tire, but it's just there's lots of that. And like I said, that's, you look at that, if you're driving down the road and looking at, you know, moving your business here, and you look at that and it's just light. I mean, it's just it's not very attractive. And I you know, I would love to see us build all that up. I mean, even, you know, closer to the redevelopment part of Main Street, it's just, some of that's just looking horrible. And I would love to see us fix that up, and you know, so we could draw a lot of people in here. I would love to see this place very prosperous. And thank you, Mr. Clark, for looking at that decision about the consultant fees and stuff. I wish more people with the government would think like you do. And I'd say Ricky Clark for president. Thank you.
There you go. Ms. Falami, you have the floor, ma'am.
Okay, I'm dragging because I'm tired. Been up since 5 this morning, didn't get paid.
Nevertheless, I want to come on behalf of the MTS Sickle Cell Foundation. The CEO founder, Matella Don, wanted me to show her gratitude by saying thank the city of Forest Park for the invitation to come out and be a part of the economic employment health fair today. The invitation was by Ms. Kim and Ms. Pat Seabrook. We thank you so much for that. I don't see, oh, okay. Thank you so much. Want to say that. Want to also say we had a wonderful time this weekend. That's what Forest Park is all about, unity in the community. I think everyone up here had an excellent time going into the Juneteenth, even though that didn't represent Juneteenth. We was just partying. But nevertheless, I have to give a big shout out to the PD department. We are going to do an extravaganza starting of the night. It's going to be a black and white tire. So I'm going to get with Sergeant Cantel, and we're going to set it up, and we're going to invite you guys out to come and put on your evening wear and fellowship with us under the stars. Also, I would like to say to the young lady who came up for defect, we have 6 branches that is active right now here in Clayton County. We are a resource hub. We are advocating on behalf of renewal with Gateway for those who are not literate to computer, to having it in various language. We have different machine items that translate to our constituent to do their renewal, because we don't want anyone to fall out the gap for Peach Care or Medicaid. So if you hear or anyone need any type of information, please send them to one of your local branches. And saying about the branch, I would like to give my condolences to my colleague, Ms. Ruthina Ozar. If many of you all who participate with the library branch, she lost her son, so my prayers and my condolences go to her. But anyone that need access to Gateway and doesn't have any literacy about them, please send them to any library. I can't stress that enough. You can go to Gateway, but again, let me go back to the PD. Madam Chair, you said we needed some praxis. We don't need the praxis. They didn't have coach for linemen. And that goes to my, when I got them, we was losing, but when I got them, we were 15, 25, and we end up, Madam Council, we went 23, 25. Drop that in your head. And I see you at the engagement.
I love it. I love it. And Miss Andrews. Good evening.
I'm here to address the sanitation department that's coming off Cash Memorial onto Lamar Drive. There has been a lot of trash on the street. They're not cleaning the street. They're coming in all times of night. The gate is open. They're supposed to have a cutoff time. Also, at the very top of the street where they enter, I bust my tire the other day. That's why I'm here. The trash is really bad. It's really, really bad. On top of that, the trash trucks are lined up from the very top of the street to the end of the street. And they're standing there and the trash does not smell so good. I have a problem with the tenants complaining about the trash. And they're complaining about they're out there a long time. We can only use one side of the road because they're blocking everything. And that's my complaint today.
Okay, thank you. All right, we don't have any additions okay. Is there a motion to adopt tonight's agenda?
So moved.
That was Councilwoman James. Is there a second?
Second.
That was Councilwoman Wells. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, thank you. Hector, I didn't hear you. Okay, thank you. Approval of the minutes. Has everyone had the opportunity to review the work session and regular meeting minutes from June 20th? And if so, are there any changes to be recommended? Is there a motion to group said minutes together and approve as is?
So moved.
That was Councilwoman James. Is there a second? Is there a second?
Ms. Diane, you said June 5th.
Oh, it should, yeah.
So second with
No.
that.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Councilwoman James?
Yes.
Councilman Antoine?
Yes.
Councilman Gutierrez? Councilwoman Wells? And Councilman Mears? Is he not on?
Mears, are you there?
You sleep.
Okay, item 8, council approval on government tax solutions. Is there a motion to approve this item?
So move.
That was Councilwoman Wells. Is there a second?
I'll second.
That was Councilwoman James. Any further discussion? Councilwoman James,
Yes.
Councilman Antoine?
Yes.
Wait, that was Councilman Antoine. Councilman Gutierrez, Councilwoman Wells,
Yes.
and Councilman Mears.
Yes.
Okay, now Councilman Mears, I don't know if you heard my motion on the minutes, but we did not hear your response. Did you want to vote on that? Councilman, okay, well, we're just gonna move on. Item 10, council approval of executing the task order for the City Hall Master Plan. Is there a motion to approve this
Excuse me,
item?
Madam Mayor, you skipped item 9.
Oh, goodness, I sure did. All right, back up. Item 9, council approval of the land bank contribution update. Is there a motion to move forward as described in the work session?
So move.
That was Councilwoman Wells. Is there a second?
Second.
I'm so, oh God. Okay, let me back up. I'm tired. That was Councilwoman James, and then there's a second by Councilwoman Wells, right? Did I get that right? I wasn't first. Okay, Councilwoman Wells made the motion, and then there was a second by Councilwoman James.
Okay.
Now, is there any further discussion? Thank you. Councilwoman James.
Yes.
Councilman Antoine.
Yes.
Councilman Gutierrez.
Yes.
Councilwoman Wells.
Yes.
And Councilman Mears.
Yes.
All right, thank you. Item 10, council approval of executing a task order for the City Hall Master Plan. Is there a motion to approve this item?
So move.
That was Councilwoman Wells. Is there a second? That was Councilman Gutierrez. Any further discussion? Councilwoman James?
Yes.
Councilman Antoine?
Yes.
Councilman Gutierrez? Councilwoman Wells?
Yes.
And Councilman Mears?
Yes.
All right, thank you. Council approval of a resolution and intergovernmental agreement with the Clayton County Board of Elections. Is there a motion on this item? Is there a motion to table this item?
So move.
That was Councilwoman James. Is there a second?
Second.
That was Councilman Mears. Any further discussion? Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Clark, this is the one we needed to review again.
Say what?
correct?
Yes.
Right.
Yes, ma'am, but
I thought you were ready.
for clarity, if we are on a tight time schedule.
Okay.
And so the distinction is we can move forward with the IGA with the understanding that either we're using paper ballots or we're using the machines.
We are not
As it
using-
prescribed inside the resolution or the intergovernmental agreement as prepared, it speaks to us utilizing the 3 image cast precinct scanners, the 3 ballot plastic box for the ICPs. And that is, Ms. Diane, correct me if I'm wrong, that is utilizing the paper ballot where you
Yes, because that's what council had directed me to do in the January retreat.
Yes, we did. But from I guess the understanding we have now is that we want to change that. I don't know who all wants to change it, but I'm not in favor of changing.
The
it, but it's up
residents,
to-
the residents don't want to vote on paper ballots. It's 2023, and everybody was complaining about it. So I don't know why we did that, whose decision it was, but yeah, we don't need to do that. And Mr. Clark, if you can reiterate, talk about why we shouldn't, if you don't mind.
So with the systems that are in place now as sponsored by, I believe it's Dominion, Ms. Diane, the election process, in my estimation, is simpler because the individual voter is coming inside of a precinct. The precinct manager is then programming a ballot card. At such time, the voter has the opportunity to go over into the ballot box and vote. They should not leave the precinct until they have duly scanned their actual ballot, but there is no room for the ballot to be changed. So it's all about preference. My preference is always going to be the machine, just based upon the error that can happen with the paper ballot. But with the process that Ms. Diane explained to me here, what happens is the resident completes the oval, and then that paper ballot is put inside of a machine, and calculate it. If we went with the machines, there is no paper in the process. It's the same as you would when you go to a county precinct to vote. But again, this is of the discretion of mayor and council, how you guys wish to move forward, but we have to get it procured from the
Yeah.
county.
So, Madam Mayor.
Yes, ma'am.
So I mean, really, it doesn't matter one way or the other, but I would say that it was less costly. We did have, I don't remember all of the complaints, but I know that the process was really just like the electronic process. The only difference was you got a paper instead of a card. The process was exactly the same. And my only objection is that we don't have a large list of items that we're voting on when we have so it's not like they're reading a whole bunch of stuff and having to fill out a whole lot of stuff on paper. It's one item or two. You know, they're voting for a council person or they're voting for the mayor and a council person. And so, but I mean, it's the discretion of what you guys want to do.
Thank you. Councilman Antoine, any questions or comments?
No comments.
Councilman Gutierrez?
Yeah, I would like to move towards the electronic side more better. I don't want any doubts to even be out there of anything happening at all within our city. And just for the sake of transparency, I know people work really hard here and are ethical people. So I know that none of that is happening, but you know, by leaving it to, you know, a paper ballot and, you know, in my opinion, it's not exactly the same. I know when you go there with the card, it's all digital and there's no you know, room for error, like Ricky said, when you count it. And then, you know, you have to go with the other one also and then put it in there. I don't know. I just rather go with the, you know, with what technology has offered and what's familiar with our people. They already vote on these electronic ballots. It's the same thing.
Councilwoman Wells?
Yes, I agree with Councilman Gutierrez, Councilman Gutierrez, as well as our city manager. It's 2023, you know, and I've never, since I've been in office, seen the residents have to vote on paper, you know, and it does give room for error because you have people that have to actually count these ballots. And then, you know, you have a lot of trust in people. I don't. So yeah, I do believe that people will mishandle, you know, and I just want the people to feel comfortable. When you go and vote, you're supposed to feel comfortable walking out of the what is it called? Precinct, knowing that your vote counts. And so I just feel like and then you did too say that it's not costing us anymore because Councilwoman James said that it's cheaper. But I would just say, ask the voters. Let them decide because that's who we work for. You know, we're the ones being voted upon. I think it's them that should make that decision. And I guarantee you, if you ask if they rather, even just the ones here, if they rather have paper or the machines, I guarantee you they wouldn't say paper.
Councilman Mears?
No comment.
All right, so right now the motion on the floor is to table this item. Unless there's a withdrawal, I'm going to ask for the motion to table the item.
So, Madam Mayor, I will
I call for the
withdraw
vote.
my motion because of time. I would make a motion that we approve the IGA with the understanding that we will use the electronic machines. Is that how you would word it?
Yes. All right, so there's that motion. Is there a second?
Second.
That was Councilwoman Wells. Any further discussion? Councilwoman James?
Yes.
Councilman Antoine?
Yes.
Councilman Gutierrez?
Yes.
Councilwoman Wells?
Yes.
And Councilman Mears?
Yes.
Thank you. Council approval of the cancellation of our July 3rd council meeting. Is there a motion to approve this item?
So moved.
Councilwoman James, is there a second?
Second.
Councilwoman Wells, any further discussion? Councilwoman James?
Yes.
Councilman Antoine?
Yes.
Councilman Gutierrez?
Yes.
Councilwoman Wells?
Yes.
And Councilman Mears?
Yes.
Thank you. Council approval on the lighting services agreement. Is there a motion to approve this item?
So moved.
So
That was
moved.
Councilwoman Wells. Is there a second?
Second.
That was Councilman Antoine. Any further discussion?
Mayor, just one correction. Is this the lighting services agreement and the policy relative to the street lighting district? Or would you guys prefer that we bring this back before you so that you can have more time to actually look at the policy and we can separate the two? So this
Sounds
particular
good.
one would be for Elon Church Road.
Yes.
And then we could bring back the policy at another meeting.
Absolutely. Did I call for discussion? No, okay, discussion. Councilwoman James?
No discussion.
No, I feel like I did that backwards. No? Councilman Antoine?
I'm sorry.
Oh, yes,
I'm
ma'am.
sorry. So, we're voting on the alighting agreement, but we're not voting on the policy. Is that what we're saying?
We're voting on the item on the agenda, which was specifically for Elam Church Road.
Okay,
And then the policy itself will come back in the near future.
gotcha. Okay.
Councilman Antoine, questions or comments?
This is good vision. Definitely agree.
Okay. Councilman Gutierrez, anything? No, Councilwoman Wells
Whatever Councilman Antoine.
and Councilman Mears. All right,
Yes.
all right. Oh, well, I guess I need to call for the vote. I'm so tired. Vote, yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Councilman Antoine, we're voting now.
Absolutely.
Councilman Gutierrez, Councilwoman Wells,
Yes.
and Councilman Mears.
Yeah.
Okay, excellent. Item 14, council approval on the implementation of Adopt a Cop. Is there a motion to approve this item?
So moved.
So moved.
Councilwoman James, okay, there was a second by Councilman Antoine. Any further discussion? Councilwoman James?
Yes.
Councilman Antoine?
Yes.
Councilman Gutierrez? Councilwoman Wells? And Councilman Mears?
Yes.
Council adoption to amend the simplified noise ordinance. Is there a motion to approve this item?
Yes, so moved.
Councilwoman James, is there a second?
Second.
That was Councilwoman Wells. Any further discussion? Councilwoman James?
Yes.
Councilman Antoine? Councilman Antoine? Okay, Councilman Gutierrez?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. And that was a yes from Councilman Gutierrez, Councilwoman Wells, and Councilman Mears.
Yes.
Thank you. Council approval for the implementation of C-Click Fix. Is there a motion to approve this item?
Madam Mayor, I
moved.
make a
Councilwoman-
motion that we approve this item.
Second.
Okay, well, that was Councilman Antoine. There was a second by Councilwoman James. Is there any further discussion on this item? Councilwoman James?
Yes.
Councilman Antoine?
Yes, Mayor.
Councilman Gutierrez? Councilwoman Wells? And Councilman Mears?
Yes.
Thank you. Council action regarding the City Edge Quarterly Project Update. Now, is there a motion to bring this item in-house for program reevaluation?
So moved.
That was Councilwoman Wells. Is there a second?
I'll
Second.
second.
That was Councilwoman James. Any further discussion?
My staff and I work with Mr. Jeter to try to have this back, have a recommendation to you at our July meeting.
Councilwoman James, I'm calling for the
Yes.
vote. Thank you. Councilman Antoine?
Yes.
Councilman Gutierrez? Councilwoman Wells?
Yes.
And Councilman Mears?
Yes.
Mayor Butler, just for clarity with the legal, based upon City Edge currently having the funding, should we establish a date by in which those funds are returned until we can reevaluate the program? That way, there is no responsibility on them to maintain city funds, and we have control over ensuring that those dollars are not expended until such time as we reevaluate the program and get it ratified by council.
So assuming they have possession of the funds, I would recommend you ask for those within 48 hours.
Okay.
Item 18. Council action regarding the home repair grant program and guidelines. Now, is there a motion to cancel the RFP and bring the process in-house?
So
Okay.
moved.
That was Councilwoman James and a second by Councilwoman Wells. Any further discussion?
Like a very, it's like a marketing campaign with this, so. I know Giovanna is amazing, but just making that out there, I think this is very powerful. Yeah, I'm sorry, Ms. White. So I was just saying that I would like to see like a marketing campaign with this, and then even seeing, showcasing the recipients and just so people can see what we're doing in Forest Park.
I'm calling for the vote. Councilwoman James.
Yes.
Councilman Antoine.
Yes.
Councilman Gutierrez.
Yes.
Amir's, yes.
Councilwoman Wells.
Yeah.
And Councilman Mears.
Yes.
Closing comments. Councilwoman James, you have the floor, ma'am.
Can you come back to me, Madam Mayor?
Yes, ma'am. Councilman Antoine, how would you like to close out?
Yes, I want to thank everybody for coming out. I want to give a big shout out to all the new employees that came. I'm looking forward to meeting you. Congratulations, Forest Park High School, Dr. Dancy and her staff. To the students, remember, you guys are leaders, never followers. And again, Mr. Carl, thank you for what you shared. I wrote every concern down and I'll be working on that. And like always, know that Dabu's Antoine loves you guys and God bless.
Thank you. Councilman Gutierrez.
Thank you, Mayor. Shout out to everybody that showed up today. It was a long night, but we got through it. I would like to say Happy Father's Day to all the fathers. And shout out to Miss Jonesy and her inauguration over there. It was really fun being over there and just seeing that on our main street. It's just very exciting. Thank you for Parks and Rec and all the city employees that just put together the Juneteenth celebration, the Fun Friday celebration. I showed up late at Fun Friday to help clean up, but it seemed like they had a good time. And then the next day at Juneteenth, I really enjoyed it with my family, but I have never seen the park that packed. It was just crazy. Like cars were everywhere. I even got a citation. So thank you, Chief. But the officer was kind enough to take it back. So I did get preferential treatment, but in my defense, I was just there picking up some food. So anyway, it was on the food truck side. So yeah. Forest Park High School, just thank you, Councilwoman James, for doing that and recognizing our young players and the coaches. It fills me up with pride to see them up here and just doing, being scholars and also performing and being recognized in the region. Thank you for the lighting of Elam Church Road. That's an uphill battle we've had, and Miss Hampton Baldwin has been advocating for that road for a long time, and it's been, the narrative I would get was it was with Georgia Power. Georgia Power has it. It's in their hands. So thank you, Mr. Clark, for finally following through with that and making that happen. The Medicare presentation was really good, and it just takes all of us. If you know somebody in the community that hasn't, make sure that they are following up with that, because once they lose that, it's really hard to get back in the system, and we don't want to do that. So with that being said, I will be representing the city of Forest Park, the Lone Wolf in Savannah this weekend. I think, Javon is going also. Thank you. So it'll be just two of us carrying the flag of the city of Forest Park, but we will make y'all proud and hopefully bring some more ideas. The See Clicks Fix was a presentation that I saw in GMA. And if you want to be familiar with it, Clayton County has one. It's called Click Clayton. So Click Clayton is an app that you can have on your phone. It's free. And literally there's a feature that you can use. It says in the middle of it, it says new request, and it's got a camera. And then the camera, you can take a picture of whatever it is in Clayton County and it goes straight to them. And if they can't fix it, they send it to whatever municipality it needs to get fixed. So like Mr. Evans identified all those things, like you can literally go out, Mr. Evans, and go click, 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 and just take the pictures and it goes to them directly. So, these are things that we're trying to bring to our city to just expedite these things, but also bring that accountability, and not say, oh, it got lost in an email or it's here or there. But thank you everybody for the public comments, and I'm done. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilwoman Wells.
Yes, so I would like to first welcome our new employees. And congratulations to Officer Pope and Officer Shelton. Thank you guys so much for being committed to the city of Forest Park. Let's see. Fun Friday. We had an amazing time. And when I tell you, our city manager, like I have so much love and respect for you. It is, when I say you are absolutely amazing. He definitely believes in one Forest Park and bringing people together. Because if it wasn't for him, I don't know where we would be.
Yeah, that's true.
No, honestly. I appreciate you so much. So our employees that all came out to support the event, I hope you enjoyed yourselves. Definitely looking forward to next month. But I want to give a huge thank you to our city manager for helping with the event, Mr. Jonathan, Rashmir, Dr. Falami, thank you so, so much. And Mr. Maxwell, thank you so much. You are an awesome MC. Like you are
Yes.
absolutely amazing. Like seriously. So thank you so much for your crew, your department for doing what you all do to make our community, to bring our community together, help bring our community together. And Mr. Evans, thank you so much for your comments. We do have to be held accountable and hold other people accountable. So I just want to say thank you so much for bringing those things to our attention. And I'm sure our city manager has that. And the groundbreaking at Forest Park today. So we had the groundbreaking for Forest Park Middle School today, and it was amazing. I came at the tail end, but it was absolutely amazing. Like to our board members, our mayor who had a part in it, anybody who had a part in it, like it means so much. Like I said then, being a kid walking through those hallways, so it kind of hurt seeing the school come down, but it's satisfying knowing what's to come, so that was great. So thank you all for that. And I want to recognize Ms. Samaria, our new executive assistant. You are absolutely amazing. She put a huge smile on one of our residents' faces. So she was at Fun Friday and she ended up winning the raffle for the TV and the 2 hours on the party bus. And one of the residents, she was the first one to buy a raffle ticket, and all she wanted was that party bus. She wanted that party bus. And she was actually pulling out of the park when the numbers were being called, and Miss Maria won. They called her, well, they called my mom's number, and I told her, no, ma'am, you cannot. You will not take this TV. So they end up calling Miss Maria's number. And she was looking for that resident, like, where did she go? I want to give her this. I want to give. And Miss Donna was so happy. Like, you made her day. And things like that make a difference. It may be small to someone else, but it's huge to others. So thank you so much. And I hope you all have a great day.
Councilman Mears. All right, Councilwoman James.
So again, thank you all so much for coming out. I want to remind you that our monthly meeting, my monthly ward meeting that I host every third Thursday of the month, we did have an update. It has been updated and hopefully it'll be uploaded soon. Some of the issues that Mr. Evans mentioned, our city manager addressed some of the things that we are looking forward to doing, and that is separating the zoning department from the business piece, the economic or the business community piece. So that's some stuff that's going to be happening. I'm excited about all the great things that are happening in the city of Forest Park. You guys, please make sure you visit the website and see the information that was shared from our zoning department, our public works department, our police department, our recreation and leisure department, our HR department. We even met our new court administrator at our meeting. And of course, our city manager was present to give information, and our mayor as well. And then we had our representative, Rhonda Bordeaux, that was there as well. So make sure you check out next month, third Thursday of the month. We'll be at 696 Main Street. Also want to remind everyone that tomorrow is a big day for the city of Forest Park, Helping Hands Ending Hunger, Forest Park High School, Clayton County as a whole, Forest Park as a whole. It is the first day of gifts at the park. I have just got a word from Carla that the actual truck will be, is scheduled to be at Forest Park High at 11 a.m. So we do have volunteers coming at 9. We're going to start setting up the tables and everything at 9. So we have a tractor trailer full of goods that we're going to be giving away on Friday. So if you have some extra time, you want to come by Forest Park High School, please come by, volunteer. We have a lot to do to get ready for Friday. Friday is the event. We have 156, I believe was the last count, people that have signed up to receive gifts. They have been allotted their time slots. I've actually closed the website so they can't register anymore with that code. But if you want to call, you can call me or you can call Ms. Dixon or Ms. Johnson, and we can fit you in one of the time slots if you still want to come and get goods. They'll have bedding, baby goods, shoes, clothes, bags. I mean, you name it, we'll have it. And these are brand new items. They have not gently used, none of that. These are brand new items. So if you can share some time come on out and help us out. We'll start at 9 a.m. on tomorrow. We'll be at Forest Park High School. And then, of course, we're going to do a press release on Friday, Madam Mayor. But thank you all so much. And we look forward to continue to service you.
Thank you. Councilman Gutierrez wanted to add something.
Yeah, I just want to add something real quick. Miss Kim from HR, Miss Brown was amazing. I called her to help. I get help with the ADP emails I kept getting. So just shout out to her and her just positive attitude and energy. So I'm glad that we have her serving the city. And then just acknowledge the young woman that came up and spoke about the waste management problems. Like, we're going to get on that. Okay, ma'am. So just thank you for speaking up on that.
Councilwoman Wells.
I'm sorry, you brought that to my attention. Like, I really want to, is she still here? Yes, so I would like to get your information before you leave. And I can't say it enough because I've been talking about it for years and years and years. Our residents should not have to suffer because we have a dump in the middle of our community. We've been complaining about it, nothing's getting done about it. I spoke to our city attorney about it. Like, what can we do to get them out of our community or swap land, something? Like, we have to do better by our residents, and it's not fair. And I complain all the time. I just sent the email to the city manager today about Cash Memorial. Like, our public works department should not have to go up there and clean up their mess. You know, these are the streets of Forest Park. We want our residents comfortable. You cannot be comfortable. You wouldn't want your mom or your dad or your sister, your brother staying next to a dump and not being able to have family gatherings because of the smell and the trucks riding by all day, every day. It's not fair. And I would like something done about it. Like, I'm tired of talking about it. I'm tired of our residents having to come up here and complain about the same thing over and over and over. I'm tired of complaining about the same thing over and over. Who's going to do something about it? Like, let's show some type of initiative, because I'm only one person and I can't do it by myself. I know it's in my ward, but we are one Forest Park. Thank you, city manager, for that. So I would really like to see something done about it. Some type of conversations happening so that our residents can be comfortable in their homes.
Wells, one of the things I think we can do immediately, as we're looking to deploy these different flock cameras out in the community, perhaps we can find an innovative way to establish cameras over there so we can actually see what's going on the street. You know, it would be hard for the resident to call us and say, hey, they're there at 5 o'clock because nobody is here. But if we have a way, whether it's through a flock camera or even if we have to go old school and put up a Ring camera, we just need to first be able to see what's going on and then make them responsible for what we see on the camera. So it's no hiding, you know. So I'll get with Chief Chris this evening and we'll find out what's going on. We can perhaps even ride the area tonight just to see if we see those infractions.
All right, thank you. We have can you put that back up? We have a clean sweep coming up July 8th at 8 a.m. to 4. And Mr. Jinks, would you like to add a little bit to this?
Be more than happy to, as y'all know, during the new contract negotiations with Waste Management, Recycling Center is no longer. So in part of the contract, we extended our clean sweep from 4 hours to 8 hours. Well, since that's Waste Management property, we cannot use that. So I want to get the news out there that for the time being, I don't know how long it's going to last. The new location is going to be 330 Forest Parkway. You'll come in off of Hale Road and then turn on Central, and we'll have people in there working, done from 8 o'clock to 4 o'clock. Just like a regular clean sweep. It's got to be Forest Park resident, got to show proof. Paint has to be dried up, limit 4 tires. Basically no rocks, no chemicals, no unknown. Anything that does not have a label, and no explosives, please. And other than that, that's about it.
Thank you very much. I echo the sentiments of my colleagues this evening. Fun Friday was actually a lot of fun. And so I look forward to next month.
I'm glad you do.
And look, I'm ready to go home. Is there a motion to adjourn? That was Councilwoman James. Is there a second? Second. Councilwoman Wells, all in favor? Aye. All right, thank you. See you next month.